Hello and welcome to this very interesting review of Supremacy Not Only Intense by Afnan. This is going to be a very unique video because I'm going to compare two batches. The first one was from July 2025 and this one is from April 2025. And I'm also going to compare a decant that I've done from this batch, which is April 25, and share with you how each of these perfumes evolved over the first 4 to 6 weeks of use and what you can expect from your new bottle of Supremacy Not Only Intense. So, as we get started, you would already have seen a 2 week update on the old bottle that I had created just as I was sending it back. And let's proceed with slightly better lighting. So we're looking at Afnan Supremacy Not Only Intense. I have pre-written most of the things I'm going to talk about today to save everyone's time by not writing live on camera. Let's get started. This is what today's coverage looks like. So there are two batches that are in play. The first one is July 2025. This is the one where we already have a 2 week video on the channel. April 2025 is the current batch, and this goes up to 6 weeks. We're going to look at the timeline, which will be from new up to 6 weeks, and how the notes progress over time. So, this progression opening is typically the first 30 minutes, heart is 30 minutes to about the first 2 hours, and then whatever is the residual notes left at the end of it are the base notes. A new bottle, this is where there's a big difference between both of these batches. The July batch, the first one that I had, the opening was very fruity and with lots of citrus, and it was followed up by a lot of ambroxan like smells. However, the April batch that I've got is mostly fruity, there's little to no citrus, and it just quickly transitions into Oakmoss and settles there. Then, if we look at the first week or so of performance, what you'll see is that while on the older bottle, the opening stayed the same, but it was there for a slightly longer period of time. And then it had these very annoying characteristics where it was sharp, it was metallic, there was a lot of screechy oak moss. I have not felt that with the new one, with the April 2025 bottle that I got as replacement. In fact, by this time, I had already created a decant. So, this is a small bottle that I used to carry with me. And the primary bottle is this, which is largely kept at home. So, this is where we see a bit of difference. In fact, if you want to try your own decants, I've created a tutorial on this. I'll link it somewhere in the description. Check it out after this if you're interested. So, the decant, I think throughout this entire process, the smaller bottle with the decant, it showed a lot more punch and it was a little more tangy, with the transition being slightly more gentle into the oak moss. The main bottle during the first 2 weeks was slightly muted. It had similar notes, it had similar progression in the opening. The oak moss stayed harsher for longer, it was sharper, so it was not as enjoyable overall. I think just getting this out there, in this one, I had done almost, I think, a 50-50 or a 70-30. This is a 10 ml bottle. I typically extract between 5, 3 to 5 ml at a time. So it gets a lot of air inside this bottle. Anyway, there were some advantages of a faster and a smoother set of accords that come in into the decant, while the main bottle progresses a little more slowly. Coming to week 3, this is where we are right now. The opening was fruity, and the Oakmoss, which was initially very metallic and unbearable in the first bottle I had, the July batch, it started getting better. It was more pleasant, and a hint of smoke also started coming in, which is not something that I have experienced in the current bottle yet. The current bottle, which is April 25, around the week 3 to week 4 mark, has gotten more punchy. The Oakmoss has gotten slightly sweeter. It is very clean and very fresh. And while there has been no change in this, in the note profile from how it was in the beginning, what has happened is I think it stays for a lot longer. And as the temperature has been increasing, I've started feeling that this gives a very nice cooling effect. Also, a hint of citrus notes appeared around week 3 and week 4 in the base notes. Maybe it was some residual citrus from the opening. I don't know. This is generally not supposed to happen because these are lighter molecules and they are the first ones to evaporate. But that is something that happened on my bottle. This one I had to end up returning because there were issues with the cap. So July 25, I only have it here. And at this point, between the two, if I were to pick one, I would say this is the clear winner. The the aroma profile or the scent profile of the July 25 batch was more complex. It had a lot more nuanced notes and I enjoyed it more. But the cap was very loose, so I decided to return it. The current batch that I have, which is April 25, it has, I think, fully settled down now. I do not expect any further changes. In case something happens, I will create a follow up video. The projection on this continues to stay low. It is not something that is filling up rooms or assaulting people's noses the moment you enter, which is a good thing. I think subtle always beats beast, quote unquote, beast mode. And I'm getting a lot of longevity. It's easily lasting for 6 to 8 hours. However, there's an application note. Again, if you apply it on the top layer of clothing or if you put it on linens, it's going to last much lesser. So, ideally, you should put a light coat of moisturizer, preferably unscented moisturizer, and then do a few sprays on top of this once the moisturizer has settled in on the skin or on the inner layers of clothing. That is where it lasts, that is how it lasts the longest. And now we come to the slightly controversial view. SNOI is not considered a standard summery cool fragrance. And this is where I think I differ with what is said mostly because the opening, which is fruity, also feels very interesting. Once it settles down into the oak moss, that is such a fresh and clean note that it is almost perfect for summer afternoons, for hot days. This, along with the notes of vetiver or khus that we see in Rasasi Fatan that I reviewed earlier, you can check that link out also. So these two, I think, are really good options for hot summer days to keep you nice and cool through the day. Now, issues first is packing. SNOI Supremacy Not Only Intense. It comes in two sizes. The price is almost the same for a 100 ml bottle, which comes in a fancy box, and a 150 ml bottle, which comes in a gray box like this, in a cardboard box. I prefer to pay more for the perfume than for the packaging, so I've gone for the 150 ml bottle. I have heard that there are differences in quality between the 100 ml and 150 ml. I don't think I will be testing that bit out. Now we come to the packaging. So I have the 150 ml bottle. Cap issues. This was the reason why I had returned the first one. The first one had a very loose cap. This one also, while it fits in, it I don't think seals very well. and but it does the job, so I'm not sending it back. The other Supremacy caps that I have function a lot better, but this is okay, though not the best. So the cap issues continue. Um, in case you're curious, the pen today is called Twisby Eco. It is a demonstrator pen because you can see the ink inside, and I'm using it with a diamine turquoise ink. So, to round this up, the final recommendations to buy or not to buy, I think this is, I can firmly recommend this as a buy decision. The fragrance performs well and it is interesting, it is good for use in summers. The opening is fruity enough and prominent enough to be used on cooler evenings or nights, maybe even in winters. Just be warned of a couple of things. One, there might be some batches which are more smoky and woody. In case you get that batch profile, that might not be as summer friendly as this one. However, the one that I have is focused on Oakmoss, so it works well for me. Second, second, if you are looking for something that projects or is going to fill up the room and announce itself, this is probably not it. I have again heard that there are some batches of Not Only Intense that project very heavily. This is not it. The April 2025 or even the July 25 batches, these batches are not it. However, we are only 6 weeks in. Maybe after 6 months, it will be very different. I don't know. If something changes, I will create a follow up update in a few months from now. But I really don't think you should have to wait 6 months to enjoy your fragrance. I think it is acceptable the way it is today. And that is all I have to say about that. Thank you very much for your time and have a wonderful day.